Welcome to this edition of Head to Head. I'm your host, Cam McKinney, and this is episode number 384 of the podcast. And on this episode, I'm talking about the 2025 Boston Red Sox, how their season ended, and where do we go from here. After some bumps in the roads early on in the season, the Red Sox did in fact end up making the postseason. And of course, as you know right now, they lost to their rivals, the New York Yankees, in a 3-game wildcard series that could end up being the most entertaining playoff series you are going to see this year. And while the team did not win that series, there was a victory that I saw, and the victory was how good Garrett Crochet pitched for the Red Sox in Game 1, where he went 7 innings with 11 strikeouts. That to me is an indication that the team has found a true ace, a guy who can take the ball in the biggest moments and deliver a one-of-a-kind performance. After watching the series, it is obvious what this team needs moving forward is a true blue power hitter, a guy you can pencil in for 35 homers and 100 RBIs. I don't believe that's going to be Wilyer Abreu. Maybe it's going to be Roman Anthony when he returns to injury, although that's a big ask from someone you've never seen do that before. I think they're going to have to go out this offseason and get a guy, and there are some candidates. You have Kyle Schwarber, who has already played for the Boston Red Sox. You have Pete Alonso, who has played in a big market with the Mets. I mean, he can handle the Boston media. What's interesting about the current state of the Boston Red Sox is you can look at them and you can say that they are built for long-term success. Like I said, they have an ace in Garrett Crochet. They have a young phenom in Roman Anthony. But then they also have these guys in Alex Bregman and Trevor Story who are older, who had great years. Alex Bregman can opt out. Trevor Story can opt out. And even if they are here for a few more years, how many more do they have of being the great players that they currently are? Not to mention, you have Aroldis Chapman. I mean, how many more years of dominance are you going to get out of that guy? So yes, the future does look bright for me, but there still is some uncertainties that the Red Sox are going to have to figure out this offseason. I mean, I haven't even mentioned the outfield. You have these other guys in Ceddanne Rafaela, Jarren Duran, and Wilyer Abreu, and no one Red Sox fan can agree on which one of those three should go away. I love Ceddanne Rafaela. He is my favorite current member of the Boston Red Sox. I believe he is a building block. If they trade him away, I think that's unforgivable. He's versatile. You've seen him in the outfield. You've seen him on the infield. He can come up with a big hit. He is not fully tapped into his potential as a baseball player. I see this guy as a future all-star candidate. Wilyer Abreu is the one I would personally move on from. I like him. It doesn't seem like Alex Cora wants to play him against lefties at all. If you could trade him for a decent starting pitcher, I would do that immediately. Jarren Duran has become a polarizing figure in that last season he was the All-Star Game MVP, and this year he had his ups and downs, and defensively he took a huge step back, playing left field the whole year. My take on him is he still brings more good than bad. I want him on the Red Sox moving forward. I don't think the plan is going to be that they're going to give him a long-term contract extension, but I do think he is somebody you should keep until you have to let him go. I think I speak for all Red Sox fans when I say I desperately do want them to be aggressive this offseason, and I really do hope the answers are not the young players on the way. Like, don't tell me that Tristan Campbell is going to be an everyday outfielder to start the season, or that Marcelo Meyer is going to be an everyday player. I don't know if he is or he isn't, but I'm just saying that those are not going to be good enough answers for Red Sox fans. Like, we need a legitimate offensive player to join join this roster. The idea that many have in their heads is that the Red Sox are going to trade for Minnesota Twins ace Joe Ryan. I like that idea of having Garrett Crochet and Joe Ryan, but the idea I like even more is having a guy with real power in the lineup. The offense really struggled down the stretch. I mean, you lost a young outfielder in Roman Anthony, and then you couldn't score enough runs. To me, that is their biggest issue. I like the big three of Garrett Crochet, Brian Bayo, and Lucas Giolito. That is enough for me. Yes, you could always use another starting pitcher. If you get Joe Ryan and a bat, that would be ideal. But the priority should be the offense. I loved the addition of Alex Bregman, but my biggest fear currently for the Red Sox is that they have to spend most of the offseason negotiating a new deal for him, that he opts out. I mean, the best case scenario is that he opts into this deal and then you can prioritize the other free agents. But if you have to do everything you can to keep both him and Trevor Story, that is not good for the Red Sox, because that means they have to focus on these guys while the other big names sign with other teams. I have to bring up the name Rafael Devers because most Red Sox fans believe that after that trade, it means that the Red Sox are going to have more money to spend because they're not paying Rafael Devers. And that's not necessarily what that means. It doesn't mean the $30 million that was going to Rafael Devers is now going to go to Kyle Schwarber. I have no idea how much money the Red Sox are going to spend this offseason. They did spend money last offseason on Garrett Crochet and Alex Bregman. But, and it's worth noting, Alex Bregman was given a shorter term deal. Is Kyle Schwarber going to come back to the Red Sox on a 3-year deal? I don't think so. A guy that's coming off a season like that is going to be expecting a 4 to 5 year contract. And the same goes for Pete Alonso. If Pete Alonso has to sign another short-term deal, it's going to be with the New York Mets. It's not going to be for the Boston Red Sox. And I don't see them being in on the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes. That would be really wild if they wanted to go after an outfielder like that. I don't even think Kyle Tucker fills the Red Sox needs. He has power in that he can hit 25 to 30, but he's not the pure power hitter I'm talking about. I would look at the Red Sox and overall say they are building a baseball team the right way, and the way that you should do it is you should develop position players and trade for starting pitching like Garrett Crochet. That's why trading for Joe Ryan does make a ton of sense, because you have guys who you believe in. I think they believe in Tristan Campbell, Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony. They believe that trio is going to be something special. So if you believe that, you're going to have really good position play for the next 5 to 10 years, then you should invest in pitching, because the one thing you're not really going to develop out of nowhere is an ace. The Cubs won a World Series with young positional players in Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, Kyle Schwarber, and they paid for veteran starting pitching with John Lackey and John Lester. The Astros developed Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, George Springer, and then they brought in veteran starting pitching with Justin Verlander. That is a surefire way you are going to be a competitive baseball team. Good positional players are easier to find than quality starting pitching. So yes, there's a big part of me that thinks if the only big move they made this offseason was to bring in Joe Ryan, I think that would instantly make them a contending team that could possibly make it all the way to the American League Championship Series, because that's all you need in modern baseball is two lights out pitchers like that. Now, again, I've seen Joe Ryan pitch. I think he's very good, but he has never pitched in a market like Boston. So that would be a test, but he's a young pitcher. You pair him with Garrett Crochet and you become a contending team for the next 4 to 5 years. For me, that's thinking more long term, which is maybe what the Red Sox should be doing, because the short-term fix is a guy like Kyle Schwarber or a guy like Pete Alonso. Yes, those guys have some huge power number years on the way, but how many more? Kyle Schwarber's not going to have 5 more seasons of 40 home runs, I don't think. Pete Alonso doesn't have that much time either. These are not guys in their prime per se. Those are guys you bring in to win right now, and maybe that's what the Red Sox should be doing. But you look at the team and you go, well, Roman Anthony is going to be here a while, so maybe I should be building towards the long-term future, and Joe Ryan makes more sense in that case. But then you go back to this. If you bring back both Alex Bregman and Trevor Story, you need to take advantage of what they have left. So that's why I think the Red Sox are in this weird middle place still. They are a playoff team. They have talent. They have young talent and older talent, and they need to find a way to take advantage of both of those things moving forward. Most teams do not go through this struggle. They are either veteran-laden or a young team. The Red Sox are that rare team that are both things. And I don't personally know how most Red Sox fans view this window. Are we talking about a 3-year window to win it all? Or do people think about this as a 10-year run? I mean, people are really hyped about Roman Anthony. They are talking about this guy like he's going to be a future MVP candidate. He's going to be an all-star every year. They think he's the next big thing. But then on the other side of things, you have fans who demand the team to compete and win every year. So do you go all into next season, sign the likes of Kyle Schwarber, and worry about the long-term play later? I don't have the answers to that, but it's going to be an interesting offseason for Craig Breslow. I do know one thing. If Alex Bregman walks for, say, the Detroit Tigers, and the Red Sox decide that Marcelo Meyer is going to be the everyday third baseman, Red Sox fans are not going to be happy. And the reason for that is, of course, because they know what they are getting from Alex Bregman. He is the steady hand. With Meyer, it's all untapped potential. That's the difficulty of having younger players like this. You don't know what they can do because they don't have stats on the back of a baseball card. I think it would be gutsy if the team said, Alex Bregman's too old. We don't want to give this guy $40 million. If he opts out, we're not going to give him a longer term deal. And it's just, if you do that, you're putting all of the pressure on Meyer to be as good, if not better, than Alex Bregman. And that's not an easy thing to do. The outfield situation is an easier thing to solve because it's split in half. Some fans want Duran gone, some fans want Abreu gone, but they're in agreement that somebody has to go, so you can make that happen. When it comes to Bregman and Trevor Story, fans want those guys back in addition to a huge power bat. When talking about the Red Sox, you're talking about a fan base that is used to them going after every big-time free agent. I came from the era of them signing Carl Crawford, John Lackey, Pablo Sandoval, Hanley Ramirez, these massive deals. Not every one of them panned out, but it was exciting. The offseason is an entertaining thing for most Red Sox fans, or at least it used to be. And then they suddenly went through a few years where they were weary on spending, and then every once in a while they would sign a guy like Trevor Story. The big question right now is, was last year an outlier? Everyone in the world thought they should be in on Alex Bregman, and then they were in on Alex Bregman. Now everyone in the world thinks they should be in on Kyle Schwarber, and I don't really know if they are going to be in on Kyle Schwarber. My belief is that Schwarber is going to go back to the Phillies and that Pete Alonso is going to go back to the Mets. I don't see the Red Sox outspending on Kyle Schwarber over the Philadelphia Phillies or them outspending the New York Mets. And while yes, I would want those players, I don't know if I would want want Kyle Schwarber on the Red Sox on a 5-year deal for $40 million a year. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. I would, of course, be way more in favor of it if we're talking about a 3-year deal. There's also something that I find so funny about the fact that we are talking about the team in the Boston Red Sox that committed the most errors in 2025, yet we all believe the answer is to get these two guys who are known for hitting home runs and are not known for their defensive play, especially Kyle Schwarber, who at this point is a designated hitter. That really is the problem of talking about the offseason when it comes to baseball, is all you want to talk about is the big names. Well, if you don't get Kyle Schwarber, it doesn't matter. If you don't get Joe Ryan, it doesn't matter. If you don't get Pete Alonso, it doesn't matter. Yes, last offseason they got the big name in Alex Bregman, but they also made the smart, quiet moves, like bringing in Aroldis Chapman, who turned out to be the best closer in all of baseball. Those are the moves that Craig Breslow is probably going to have to make. Get the steady hand at second base who's going to be a solid defender. Then you have a huge upgrade with that position. Get rid of one of your outfielders, maybe trade for another relief pitcher or a starting pitcher, and then you have an upgrade. Of course, it's more exciting to talk about a team like the Mets that spends $700 million on one guy, but that's not always the answer to everything. This Red Sox team probably doesn't need to spend a huge amount of money to take a big leap forward. The American League is wide open right now next year. Yes, the Tigers are going to be there, the Yankees are going to be there, but you have a chance to be as good, if not better, than those teams. And the biggest reason why is because you hope that your young players are going to take the next step. I mean, this was the first full year of Garrett Crochet as a starting pitcher, and he ended it with his best start yet. If Roman Anthony is half as good as everyone thinks he is, your team is going to take that next step. I believe in Ceddanne Rafaela. I think he's going to continue to become a better and better offensive player. I think next year he has to be your center fielder every single day. No more of this he sometimes plays second thing. Next year, the expectations should be higher for the Red Sox, but this was a good beginning to something special. This was a step in the right direction. You made the playoffs. You made it a series against your arch rivals. Now go into the offseason and make the moves you need to make. Yes, on paper, that power hitter makes the most sense, and I want you to go out and get that, but don't overcommit to anyone. And also, now that you have an abundance of young players, you can make that trade for Joe Ryan. I have to believe the Minnesota Twins are going to be trading that guy. They just fired Rocco Baldelli. They are in a tailspin as an organization. Carlos Correa is gone. Joe Ryan has to be the next one out the door. Another big reason why maybe you should be all in on Joe Ryan is the fact that the Yankees might now have a stacked rotation that includes Max Fried. Garrett Cole could come back, obviously. Carlos Rodon, Cam Schlittler, and Luis Gil, who is still a very good young pitcher who missed a lot of this season. Yes, I agree with most Red Sox fans that Game 3 would have gone differently if Lucas Giolito made the start, but still, you need to keep on pace with the Yankees, and the strength of the Yankees in the next year is going to be their starting pitching. You need to make that one of your strengths. The future obviously looks bright for the Red Sox, but you have to think about what the Yankees are going to do and what the Toronto Blue Jays are going to do. I mean, Bo Bichette is going to be a free agent. Is Toronto going to bring him back? That's the team that won the division. That's the team that has Kevin Gausman and it has Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I mean, it goes without saying that you need to make moves this offseason that's going to make make you a team that could potentially win the division, because you don't want to be a wild card team year after year playing in a free game series, because those teams, yes, they can make runs, they can make the World Series, but rarely are they going to be the team that ends up winning it all. If you want to start being taken seriously by the rest of the league, it needs to start with winning the AL East. And I do have faith that the Red Sox are going to get there sooner rather than later. They're not that many moves away from being better than the Yankees or being better than the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm just not sure I'm on the side of the Red Sox fans who believe that they were better than those teams if it had not been for the Roman Anthony injury. I'm just not there. The Red Sox are good, but there's room for improvement. Thanks for listening to this edition of Head to Head. I'm Cam McKinney, and there'll be a new episode of the podcast every Monday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so please rate, review, and subscribe.